Welcome back. It's a beautiful morning. Do some yoga. Move around a little bit. Come here, Harry. So do what you need to get comfortable on your yoga mat now. For class, we will need yoga blocks if you have them. A stack of books is great. I'm going to use some little weights today. Some little 5-pound dumbbell. So if you have a small, something heavy kind of like this would be cool. Another alternative is a metal water bottle, and I'll show you how to modify with the metal water bottle. And if you're not comfortable using the weights, I'll also show you how you can use the block instead, and we'll get into that a little bit later in class. So start your practice this morning in a comfortable seat. You could be cross-legged or on your shins. As usual, I'm sitting on my shins, and I have this block like this in between my heels, so my sit bones are here. That way I have less pressure on my ankles and knees. You could also even stack 2 blocks or your stack of books, pillows, whatnot. You know, stack yourself up nice and high so that your sit bones are supported and you're not putting too much strain or pressure on your knees and ankles. So do whatever you need to get comfortable now. That might be seated with your legs out in front of you, cross-legged. It's going to look different for everyone. But find a comfortable position that you can hang out in for a couple minutes here while we ground ourselves down. Once you feel comfortable in your seat, I'll have you close your eyes. I'm trying to get Harry in the zone as well. So with your eyes closed, place one hand on top of your heart, your chest, and the other hand, the palm of the hand, around your low belly. And then we'll start to just feel our breath, feel what's happening in our bodies right now, give our minds a chance to quiet down a little bit as we let our bodies settle into our seat and get ready for our class. Harry's really in the zone today. Before we get too far into class, I will say if my internet connection cuts out, I'm going to keep recording the video and then I will just post it to YouTube as soon as possible instead of doing the Instagram live. So if I disappear, I will share the link as soon as possible for that recording. Okay, so in our comfortable seat, hands on our anterior chain, the front part of our body here, feeling and noticing our breath. Notice if you can soften your shoulders at all a little bit and unclench your teeth. Some of you know I've been dealing with this persistent neck injury, and the result for me is shoulders clenched up here a lot. My traps are overworked and fatigued, so I'm going to really focus on, when possible, letting my shoulders melt down and think about lengthening these muscles here on the side of the neck and the top of the shoulders. Just let them relax. Your joints and muscles and tendons will hold everything in place. Gravity is going to work to release them down, and there's no need for you to fight that here with this anxious tension holding everything tight and upwards. So shoulders are soft and heavy. Growing tall from the crown of the head, so drawing the chin inward slightly, imagining just tugging like your ponytail upward a tiny bit here. And now, as we ground into our seat, just let your belly be really full with your breath. So no need to tighten the belly right now. Kind of let it all hang out, especially on the inhale. Really deep diaphragmatic breath. So the diaphragm, these muscles around your belly helping you breathe. The inhale, draw that belly button out, really round, like you're showing off your food baby belly. You'll also feel your chest lift slightly. And the exhale, chest falls and that belly draws inward. So as you get comfortable with these sensations of your breath moving around, we'll plant the seed in your mind for a theme, maybe for your class or your entire day today. Just grounding down through gratitude. So what I like to do is envision something that I'm grateful for, whether it's something immediately next to me, maybe Harry. I'm grateful for this practice, grateful for the space I get to practice in. You can even just visualize gratitude for yourself and your body. Every time I inhale, I'm filling myself up like a pitcher, adding little drops of gratitude with each inhale. So as I breathe, I get more and more full of this appreciation for the moment or whatever thing I'm visualizing. And with every exhale, I feel a little bit of a sigh of relief, like, oh, how sweet it is to take this time to acknowledge the things we're grateful for. It even helps me to imagine myself as like a battery with a status bar. And as I imagine the gratitude filling up, the status bar goes up and up and up and up and up. I'm a very visual person, so imagining things like that really help me. With every inhale, I feel a sense of peace and light. I give thanks. And I feel gratitude for the moment, for my yoga practice, for my kitty right next to me. We try our best in these grounding moments to honor the stillness. So limiting our external distractions, we can stay focused on the sensations inside of our body and inside of our mind. We'll sit with and honor this feeling of gratitude until we're almost overflowing. You've imagined filling yourself up as much as possible, and now the gratitude overflows. It spills out of you. Remember to keep breathing from the belly first. Try not to lift and lower the chest too much with the breath. And now slightly begin to tone the belly, so drawing that belly button in. On the inhale now, you'll feel resistance in your own core. Your belly won't become as full with your breath. If you want to check yourself, you can just gently poke your tummy. Should be a little firm. Let your hands rest on your lap now, the palms facing up. And moving forward, the next couple postures, you can keep your eyes closed or you can gently flutter the eyelids open and acknowledge your surroundings again. Pick a drishti, like a soft gaze focal point, several feet in front of you. It does still help to keep your vision focused here and keep your mind focused as well. Throughout our practice, try to envision whatever it is you are grateful for today. And we'll tap back into that, especially in challenging poses when we inhale, still sipping in little bits of gratitude whenever possible. And when we exhale, acknowledging and feeling almost a shiver, a sigh of relief. Now turn the palms to face down. We'll start with just a little bit of movement in the shoulders, taking the shoulders forward in shrugging circles. So now we will work to bring the shoulders up, crowding around the neck and the jaw, maybe all the way up to your ears, and roll them back. Here I also like to move my head around, up and down. See how my neck is doing this morning? It's a little bit sore. But I'm only going to keep the head moving up and down here, not side to side yet. We'll circle several times in this direction, And when you feel ready, change to circle the opposite way, so shoulders coming forward and rounding now. Trying to make these moves as exaggerated as possible to really start waking up and getting blood flowing into these shoulder joints here. Couple more circles. Remember, keeping the belly toned now, moving forward through the practice. The belly should be engaged as much as possible. If you catch yourself belly getting a little bit relaxed, do yourself that favor, draw the belly button in again. Okay, now let the shoulders relax. If you're sitting cross-legged, switch the way that your legs are crossed right now, so opposite leg is crossed on top. We'll take the hands together behind our back, interlacing the fingers and pressing the hands down towards the back of the mat. Maybe you can press the hands to the mat and lifting the chin and the chest. Roll the shoulders back. Lead with that heart coming up and forward. Inhaling, sipping in more gratitude. And exhaling, soften. Release those hands, bring them around in front of you. Give yourself a big hug. Use the traction of your fingertips gripping onto your back to walk your fingers a little bit further, round your head down. Feel that backside body really opening up now. And we'll do the same again, taking the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers the opposite way, the weird way. And again, pressing those hands down and back, rolling the shoulders back and open. Imagine you're smashing a pencil in between your shoulder blades. And lifting from your heart. Keep the head and neck in lying neutral. No need to crane the head backwards and let it fall. And then release and big bear hug, opposite arm on top. Bring yourself back to your neutral seat. Just take one ear to the same shoulder. So taking our head up and over. From the side profile, we're not leaning our head forward or backward here. We're keeping the gaze straight forward, so we're just going a little bit over. Now, like I mentioned before, really feel this opposite side of your neck and shoulder going long and heavy. It helps me if I take this hand and reach it down towards the mat. I can't always put my palm on the mat here, but if I can actively reach down that way, it helps me to actively lengthen and relax the shoulder down. And the other side. Trying to keep this tuck of my chin the whole time as well. When I'm not mindful, I have this tendency to jut my chin out forward, and it exacerbates this neck injury. So conscious of keeping chin tucked, and I don't mean tucked touching your chest. I just mean not chicken necking out like this. So draw that chin in, and taking the ear to the same side shoulder. I'm inhaling and feeling grateful for the opportunity to take care of my neck. And back up to our neutral seat. We'll actually come up off of our seat now. If you have a block or pillows as your prop, you can move them to the side. We'll take a child's pose. So you can uncross your legs if they were crossed. I'll work around Harry here since he's so comfortable. We'll take our child's pose. Start with the traditional alignment. So hands are reaching forward, hips reaching back towards your heels, your head is bowed down. After several breaths here, work both of your hands together over to the right corner of the mat. Your head still bowed down here, forehead towards the mat. And then we're stretching out the left side of the body here. You can actively inch and kind of tiptoe your fingertips over a little bit further and feel deeper stretch on the left side. And then after a few breaths here, work your way back to center. Reset here before you work to the left side. And then work your way back to center. Come up onto hands and knees to a tabletop position. Come here, Gary. Come here. So our shoulders and wrists are stacked. Hips and knees are stacked. Here is a good time if you need more padding under your knees. You can take a roll in your mat. Start here by just rocking your hips forward and back. Come here, buddy. Forward and back a couple times. Feeling what's happening with your wrists here as you bring your shoulders in front of your wrist. Bringing strength into the back side of the wrist. And back to neutral. Flip the back of the right hand down on the mat. The palm of the left hand is still face down. Take several rounds of cat-cow breath here. The inhale, lifting the gaze, dropping the belly. The exhale, rounding the back, tuck the chin to the chest. Let's go for at least 3 full rounds of breath. Really let the belly be full on the inhale, let it all hang down. And then the exhale, draw that belly in tight as you can up towards your spine. And then we'll switch to the other side. So flipping the right palm down and the left back of the hand down. And again, at least 3 full rounds. Inhale and exhale. Okay, then back to our normal tabletop. Just take a moment with those wrists. They might feel a little bit tired. That's an intense stretch for the back of the hand here to have your weight on it like this, but it's the best way to remedy pain from the wrist when you're pressing weight into your hand like this, which is very common in yoga. So now, a little bit more movement for our torso. We're going to take our torso around in circles as if we're tracing the diameter of the circumference of a globe. So from the side, it doesn't look like much. We're taking our chest down and then up and around. So we're almost swinging down through cow and then rounding up through cat. From a different perspective, you see the circles a little bit better. Be as exaggerated as you can with this movement. It's doing a lot of stuff for us. It's getting our lumbar spine warmed up, bringing more stability to those shoulders again. Super important. We'll switch directions. When you take your belly down, you can take a little bend in those elbows. Nice, fluid, circular movement. Okay, and now back to our tabletop here. So we'll tuck the toes under and we'll get ourselves ready to start building some strength here. So toes are tucked under. We still have the same stack, shoulders over the wrists and hips are over the knees. Now start here by making sure that your chest is not caving down and your belly is not caving down here. Draw the belly in, no dip in the lower back, and press into the mat through your fingertips, gripping down with your fingers like you're trying to claw your mat. Really draw that belly in nice and tight, and then we're going to lift the knees and hover. I've seen this pose a lot on social media now. I guess it's called bear pose. I call it hovering table. So our knees are only 1 or 2 inches above the mat. Keep drawing that belly in. Strengthen the core will help support you here and protect your lower back. Keep gripping through fingertips. And lower the knees down. Just take a mental note of where you feel that pose the most. It'll be different every day depending on the state of your body. Sometimes I feel that more in my hands and my shoulders. Today my thighs, my quads were kind of burning. So just take a little mental note. So here we go again, pressing, gripping into the fingertips. Draw that belly in, no dip in the lower back, and then float the knees. Hold the pose here, keep the breath moving through the nose. Trying your best to maintain. If we're finding it really, really challenging, we go back to that gratitude in our breath. We're inhaling. We're grateful for the opportunity to build strength, even though it's really hard. And lower the knees down. Take a break in a child's pose if you like. It's nice to at least untuck your toes here and stretch out the tops of the feet. Give the bottoms of your feet a break. Child's pose is always nice. These moments in a child's pose where we're folded in on ourselves, let your focus also fold inward. I always like to think about the connection between my third eye and the mat in a child's pose and just visualize that. See if I can get Harry to come back. Harry. Come on, Air Bear. Don't mind me. Okay, now we're back up to a tabletop here. We'll take a supported side plank. So start by stepping the right foot to the back of the mat. Pivot your left toes back so your left lower leg is now perpendicular to the long edge of the mat. And we'll just roll the chest and the shoulders open here. Now I'm going to use my little dumbbell guy that I have here. Here is a time when you could use metal water bottle. And if you don't have either of those, you could also use a block or your books, as long as they're not too heavy. So we'll take that block or water bottle, whatever it is, in our right arm that's stretched overhead here. Now add another component to this, we'll start doing some crunches. So the sequence will be on the exhale, bring your elbow and knee together. And on the inhale, extend. Now you can choose to lower the right foot down and rest in between the breath, or for more challenge, you can keep it lifted. But keep moving as you breathe. The exhale, elbow and knee come together, and the inhale, you extend nice and long. Moving slow and deliberate. As usual, I forgot to count, so do 2 more. Come here, Bear. And we'll stretch it out nice and long again. Lower that right foot down. Lower your water bottle, book, weight, whatever it is that you had on that top arm. And now we'll take the top arm in sweeping backstroke circles. Again, here, you can keep this extended leg lifted for more strength building, or you can lower it down. Harry's watching through the door. And now we'll sweep our top arm the other way. Hey, buddy. Always grateful when he joins me. Okay, now roll the top arm and shoulder back down. Pivot the left toes in, and we'll switch sides. Hey, kitty. So step the left foot to the back of the mat, pivot the right toes out, and have your prop handy. I'll turn around so I can, whoops, sorry kitty, so I can face you guys. Try to use the same prop that you had on the first side for this side as well. So I'll stick with the water bottle for consistency. And because the 5-pound weight was probably too heavy. Okay, so first thinking length all the way on that side body, reaching from the fingertips all the way through the toes, and then we'll start our crunches. I think we did 5 or 6 on the first side. Counting this time, 2. And I'll do 6, last one. And I'll lower this water bottle down now. And sweeping circles for the top arm. This movement for the top arm is not only good for that shoulder mobility, we're kind of distracting ourselves while this bottom hand is building strength and stability. I find if you're just holding a static side plank or any pose, it's a lot harder to stay there longer. So for moving, switch directions for the top arm. Kind of keeps us distracted. We can maybe do it a little bit longer. Okay, lowering the top hand back down. We'll switch around here. Back to our tabletop. Now again, we want to have our prop, whether it's block, book, water bottle. I am going to use the weight now for this one, but I'll show you guys. So we're keeping toes tucked under. Tabletop, we'll take the block, stick it behind the right knee, and lift the right heel towards your bum. Also lift that right knee. So we're squeezing the block in as hard as we can towards your bum. Same thing would be the water bottle right here. Just be careful that the water doesn't slosh around in the water bottle and it makes you drop the water bottle to the side if you're using a metal one. If you have a plastic one, that's great because you can squeeze it really, really hard. And then I'm going to switch and use my weight today. This is by far one of my favorite practices to do at home on my own. I just keep the weight really light for now. There's no need to do heavy weight, so this is 5 pounds. Now focus here first on keeping the right hip rolled down so your pelvis is squared down towards the mat. Once we open that hip, we start to put a lot of strain on the bottom hip joint and we take our glutes out of the equation. So we're targeting glutes here. The hips are squared down and we'll take 7 lift and lowers for that right leg. Leading, pressing up through the heel, but keeping that squeeze of whatever object it is you have behind your knee. I think that's 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll hold at the top, and then 7 little baby pulses. Visualize that glute squeezing to lift your foot. Check in with your hands. Can you grip into the mat a little bit more with your fingers? Okay, now we'll take the knee down. We're not lowering yet. And we're going to take our knee out to the side like a fire hydrant pose guy here for 7. Tendency will be to sway your body way over to the left side. Try to avoid that. getting really hard, think again about what you're grateful for today. I'm grateful for the burn. And then we'll hold at the top, best as you can, little baby pulses. Whew. Lower down, be grateful that's over. Before we switch to the other side, take your knees wide and tip your toes in together. Just a couple breaths in child's pose here. Taking a little chance, a little moment to cool ourselves down slightly. Heart rate lowers. Okay, on to the other side. Grab your prop, whatever it is that you need. Position it behind the left knee now. And same thing. Keep the right toes tucked under here. The left hip squared down towards the mat. And then we'll lift. Pressing that heel up. Again, careful not to roll the hip open. And lower down. 7. Keep gripping through your fingers. Belly is active and lifted. Hold at the top and then 7 little baby pulses. Okay, and then lower the knee. Just let it hover, then we're taking it out to the side for 7. Keep your core really engaged here. Keep the stack in the shoulders and the wrist. And hold at the top, little pulses. Ooh, that was a hard one. Okay, to our tabletop here. Toes tucked under. Send the right leg straight behind you. Start to round your back, bend the knee, draw the knee towards the chest, and step the foot through to the top of the mat. You can have your blocks close by here for stability if you need them. Left toes tucked under. Feel yourself grounding down through your feet before we lift up here. Common theme in yoga, we root down, we press down harder so we can lift ourselves up higher. So be aware of that connection with your right foot first. You can have a block maybe for your left hand here, but we are going to bring this back knee up off of the mat, just mindfully. Keep the stack of the right knee above the right ankle, and then we'll lift. Keep a bend in the back knee. If you straighten that back knee, you can start to torque your hips to the side, not twerk, maybe twerk. So keep that back knee bent, hips facing forward. Inhale and take the arms up overhead. Slightly lift the gaze, and now our sequence will be pretty simple move here. On an inhale, we lift up, straighten the front knee, and the exhale, we bend that front knee and take the arms to cactus arms, so 90-degree with the elbows here on the exhale coming down. Inhale, lifting up, straighten the front leg. Exhale, coming down. Keeping our gaze lifted the whole time. Challenge our balance. And again, slight bend in the back knee. Now we'll take it down and hold. Keep the breath moving, but we're holding the pose. Now think about drawing the shoulders and the chest open here, still 90 degrees with the elbows. Again, trying to squeeze that invisible pencil between your shoulder blades in the back. Keep the bend in the front knee, challenge yourself. Smile when it gets hard. Now take the hands together behind your back, interlace the fingers, Draw the chest forward and down inside of the right knee. So we're not collapsing onto the knee, we're hanging down inside of it. Head hangs down and the interlaced fingers are lifted up overhead. Come here, bear. Okay, release the grip of the hands, bring them to the mat inside of the right foot. Lower the back knee down. Find your favorite version of lizard pose. So all sorts of options here. You could have your block or book underneath the back knee. You could even keep that knee lifted if it serves you more. You can lower yourself down onto your forearms. That's a really intense, deep one. But try to choose a variation of this pose where you can be still for several moments, several breaths. So I like to keep myself lifted high here, pressing my palms down into the mat. The only movement is my breath, and then this mind-muscle connection with my right thigh and knee. I'm drawing it in towards my right armpit. Keep the belly toned and engaged. And now I'm grateful for moments to challenge myself to be still, even though I really don't want to be. I'm choosing now to be grateful for the sweat rolling down my body. Instead of being annoyed by it, I'm grateful for it because it means I'm doing a really good thing for my body. I'm helping to cleanse myself. I'm staying hydrated. Sweating is a good thing. Okay, now up, if you're on your forearms, press onto the palms now, and we'll take a little twist here. So flexed right foot. Keep the 90-degree angle between your foot and your lower leg, and we'll start to guide the right knee away from us now, looking over the right shoulder. We're just gently pressing the right knee away, not forcing. And then untwist. We'll place the hands back down on the mat. Tuck those left toes under. Keep the left knee down here. Draw that right foot back to the far end of the mat. Press into the left foot and take a three-legged downward facing dog. Right leg is lifted. Open the right hip, bend the right knee. Now, a lot of times what people will do, which is okay for a little bit, in your three-legged downward facing dog, it feels so good to really stretch and open it, almost like you're looking underneath the right shoulder. Oh, it's great, it's a really good stretch. But challenge yourself to press the same amount of weight into both of your hands and keep your shoulders squared down towards the mat. So now the twisting and opening is just in the hips. That way we're still protecting both of our shoulders. So I like to start out, open it up. It feels really, really good. Take this deep, nice stretch, and then I tone it back a little bit so I can keep both of my hands pressing even weight into the mat. Close that right hip down, lower the right foot down, downward facing dog. Pedal your feet left and right. Now before we move on to the other side with our legs, we'll take some little baby down dog push-ups. I've shown these in a class before, so you might be familiar with it. We'll take this first version will be elbows out to the side really wide. So our fingertips are still facing forward, shoulder width apart, gripping into the mat with your fingertips, your gaze down towards the mat, and just little movement. Your head is going to sink down a little bit closer to the mat, your elbows go wide, and then press back up. 10 like that. You can lower yourself down as far as you wish, maybe even your forehead tapping the mat. For me today, just my ponytail. Ooh, 10 really strong down dog push-ups. And then lower the knees back to a tabletop. You can release the hands and wrists if you need to. And here we go, our toes tucked again. We're going to send the left leg straight out behind us. And then round the back, draw that bent knee in, step the foot forward. Feel equal weight pressing down through all of the corners of your left foot, the big toe, the pinky toe, the inside and outside of the left heel. Big exhale down, and then we'll move together, inhaling lift up. Bend that back knee, hips face forward, lifting the gaze slightly. And then our sequence, inhaling, pressing up, exhaling, lower down, 90 degrees with the elbow, cactus arms, inhaling up. I think 7 sounds like a good number today. I don't know why. And then we'll lower down on this last one and hold, bringing those elbows back, still bent, opening the chest and heart. Our gaze is still lifted. Taking those hands back behind you, fingers interlace the opposite way, and bowing the head down inside of that left knee, our humble warrior, bowing down in reverence. Folding in on ourselves here again, feel grateful for the opportunity to work our bodies. We're taking care of our bodies, protecting our joints. Strong joints are happy joints. Then gently release the grip of the hands and take it down to lizard pose. Try always to do the same version on each side. That way we don't favor our imbalances. You probably notice a flexible side and a stronger side. If we always choose to do the deeper variation on our flexible side, it will continue to get more flexible, and then our less flexible side will stay stagnant where it is. So we try for the same version on each side. Lizard pose, notorious for wanting to adjust and fidget and wiggle and change. So try your best to only have your breath moving right now. Keep the belly toned, so gently drawing that belly button inward. And now the whole time also hugging the left knee in towards the armpit. Now we'll take our twist, so keeping the left foot flexed, start to twist over that left side, gently guiding the left knee away. rolling onto the outside edge of the left foot, looking over the left shoulder. And now untwist, unwind. Right toes are tucked down, right knee is placed on the mat. Draw the left leg back, and now press into hands and feet, lifting up to three-legged downward facing dog. Open the left hip, bend the left knee. Take it deep, take a twist if it feels good. And then try to have your shoulders squared, even weight distribution. And lower the left foot down. Now we'll take another version of downward facing dog push-ups before we start to cool ourselves down and rest. So now the difference will be, instead of elbows going out wide to the side, elbows are going to stay in line and lower straight down. So if you were able to lower your elbows all the way down, you'd have your hands, your forearms still parallel to one another. You might be able to, from downward facing dog, lower the elbows all the way down, but when you come up, it's a pretty challenging lift. So you can try it here, just like a baby, 1 or 2 inches lower down and press back up. And again, 10 of these. And then our downward facing dog. Pedal the feet just for good measure because it feels good. And then lower the knees. Swing the feet out in front of you. We'll lie down on our back. Draw the knees into the chest. Little squeeze, rock side to side. Take both knees together to the left side and send your right arm out to the right side. So now we're relaxing and opening this delt, our shoulder, and our pec. Gazing over that right shoulder. These last couple of poses in our class, you can have your eyes closed to again help you focus in on those feelings of gratitude and relief and lightness. Gratitude that the strength poses are done. Grateful that we get to rest our bodies now. Draw both of your knees back up to center and switch to the other side. Knees fall to the right. Left arm extends to the left and look towards the left hand. And draw both knees up to center again. Take just a full body stretch here. So arms and legs go long. Active actively pressing all the way through the toes, pointed toes, stretching arms overhead. Now keep the point in the toes. Take your right hand and grasp the left wrist and gently pull that left wrist over to the right side, stretching the left side body. Keep pointing through the toes. The more you pull on the wrist with the right hand, you'll feel like this nice deep stretch inside of that left shoulder. And then releasing to center, grasp the right wrist with the left hand, point through the toes, draw that right arm over to the left side mat. And then release. Draw the knees up, take your hands to the outside of the feet, and take the feet and knees wide for happy baby. If you can't reach your feet here, like your knees are stuck in the way, just grasp onto the lower leg here and actively take the knees wide, and like you're trying to put your kneecaps on the mat right around where your armpits are. I always like to take a little wiggle and roll here, straightening one leg, bending the other, rocking to the side. Happy baby here will be our last chance to wiggle and move before we rest. And then make your way into Shavasana, the final resting pose. If you need props or modifications, you can keep the knees bent, feet flat on the floor here, knees together will protect your lower back, or putting something under your legs or your knees will keep this micro bend in the knees, will also help protect your lower back. Otherwise, you can let yourself spread out with the legs flat, feet splay open. The arms rest at your side with the palms facing up. And same as when we were grounding ourselves into our class, feel actively your shoulders releasing, relaxing, softening down into the mat. You might not even realize that you're holding tension in your shoulders with them sort of rounded up here. So let them soften with every exhale. And now we're just imagining gratitude washing over us. So give yourself a full body scan. Even if we feel aches and pains, like I have this neck injury, I'm imagining gratitude over my whole body right now. I'm grateful for this neck injury because it's forced me to slow myself down and be more aware of my posture. I've always wanted to have better posture, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to be mindful of that now. I'm grateful for my muscles that are tired now because I got to work them and strengthen them. And now we rest with your eyes closed. Unclench your teeth and soften your jaw. Soften the corners of your mouth. See if you can even soften the corners of your eyes. No control over your breath. Just observe. Now please stay in your Shavasana as long as you like, as long as it feels good. If you find your mind is getting scattered and distracted, just return to that, observing your breath. Please take your time in Shavasana, and either in your Shavasana here or once you've made your way back to a comfortable seat, take a few moments in silence and stillness to revisit these feelings of gratitude. Finishing a practice like this, I like to take my hands together and press my thumbs into my third eye at my forehead. And I'll feel gratitude for my practice, gratitude for having the space to practice now, whether it's outside or at home, in the living room, in your bedroom. Feel grateful for your bodies and everything that they're capable of. Grateful for how they carry you through this life. Grateful for everything your body does for you. And I'm so grateful for you guys sharing an hour of your day with me today. Namaste.